Hello, so in this video we're going to install and configure Graylogs. So I don't know if you remember from the sec module, but in the sec module we configured Security Onion. And Security Onion was an IDS, which is very much different from what we're doing right now. But the way the Security Onion displayed the data through Kibana, uh, Graylog is very similar to that. It also runs on the Elk stack, which was Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Um, so we will use that as a centralized system to gather logs from different clients. This can be done on the local network. You can also send logs from like external servers and from all over the world. So the way to install it is fairly simple. We are just going to go through this tutorial, and yeah, the first thing we should do is to change the host name. So in this case, I have an Ubuntu 2004 installation, clean installation. It should also work on like 18, as you can see there. I doubt it might work on like 16, but I can't guarantee anything. But if you just follow what I'm doing, you should be fine. So, yeah, the first thing we need to do is to change the host name, because whenever you have like a centralized logging solution, let's say for example you had installed this and gathered logs from like 100 computers, and one of them had a security alert, and that alert got sent to your centralized logging solution, in this case Graylogs. You need to have a way to identify that machine. And the way we'll do that is by using host names. So we need to have a unique host name for each machine we add or send logs from. So this is going to be the server, but it's always the best thing to have like a clean setup for all the host names. So in this case, I will do, to set this in Ubuntu, you can do host name sudo host name ctl, like that, and do set host name, and then we will just pick a host name. So we will do Graylogs server, like that. You can pick whatever you want to. Click on enter. Now that is changed. So now we need to edit the host file. So we will do sudo etc hosts. Oh, do nano, of course, nano. And we will just need to change this to the same value as before. So Graylogs server. Okay, so now we just need to do reboots. So sudo reboots. Okay, so the machine just rebooted. If I do host name, you can see that my new host name is Graylogs server. Okay, so we can start with installation. So let's just copy this and paste that in, and we will just do the same thing. We will pretty much do the same thing just through the tutorial. So I'm just going to copy paste all of these, and let's see. I'll pause the video until there's something to add. Okay, so we just updated and upgraded our system. So let's just paste in the next command, which we will install a lot of different packages and dependencies. So we'll just do yes. Okay, so this was just finished. We don't need to add these because these are only if we get like enable to locate package. If you do get that message, you will obviously need to run these, but I didn't, so no need. We had all the repositories, so yeah. So the next is the MongoDB. So this is the database not used to store, this database is not used to store the logs themselves, but they are used to store like configurations for the server itself. So in order to install that, we'll need to add this repository. So we will just copy this and paste it in. And then we will copy this, paste that in as well. Yeah, and then do a new update. And then install. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so it's finished installing. So we can move on to just enable to make MongoDB run at boot, start at boot. So we'll just copy paste all of these. So let's see, like that, and like this, and there. Okay, as you can see, it's loaded. Okay, good. So now we can move on to install Elasticsearch. So this installation is also very simple. We will just download this. This is the key for the repository. And then we will do add key. Yeah, I didn't do sudo, I did udo. Like that, and we will copy this as well and paste it in. Now we will do install Elasticsearch. Yeah, so Elasticsearch is the database that will be used to store all the logs themselves. So if you were ever to like deploy this in a more realistic environment, like in a company or maybe just even like at home for different devices, Elasticsearch requires quite a lot of memory. So think about that if you ever were to deploy it in a in a typical environment. But okay, so we also need to do this to set the cluster name for our Graylogs. So we'll just paste that in, and we will just paste in these as well. So we can set a different cluster name, but I will just keep it at Graylogs. And paste this in, and do EOT, like that. So we will do the same, just the same thing as we did with MongoDB. We will make it run at boot. So if the server were to restart, it would work. Yeah, it can take quite some time to restart Elasticsearch. But I won't bother with this command. I'm pretty sure it will work. So, but okay. So now we can install Graylog itself. So the first thing we will do is to copy this command. Let's see. This will also just download the repository. No, it will actually download the deb file. So this is the installation file. So we will copy this. Oh. And then we will do this command, which actually runs installation. And now we can do, let's see, we'll update and install these packages. So there are different versions of Graylog, as you can see. For example, now I'm installing both the enterprise plugins and the integrated plugins. I will just keep them, but you could technically just do this. But some of these plugins are pretty handy, so I would just keep them. So yeah. Okay, so the installation is now finished. So we can move on to actually deploying it. So there are two configurations that need to be done. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the password is configured. So as it says right there, we need to set password secret and root password. So the first one is very simple. We'll just do sudo nano and then open this server.conf and move all the way down to password_secret. So you can see right here. So this is not a root password, but we should set it to something relatively secure. But I will do noroff_2020. Not exactly a very secure password, but I will delete this afterwards. If you were to deploy this, you would need to put a more secure password. I will also set the root username to admin. And then there's a, right there, you can see a password SHA-2. We will generate a SHA hash afterwards, but there's also one more setting that we need to set. So let's see. Under HTTP bind, by default, I think, or we can try to, okay, we can try to start it without changing the listening IP address. But I think by default, it will only listen to localhost. But in order to generate a hash, we can copy in this. Like this, just copy it in, and we'll ask for password. I will just put the same password, noroff2020, and just copy this. Copy that hash, and we'll go all the way down to root password SHA-2, paste it in. Okay, so this might not work because I think I need to the password I set to noroff will need to be like 16 characters, but we will try. So let's enable this and then start the service. So it will start even if the password isn't good enough. Okay, it apparently won't. Okay, so let's just try to, we can look at the logs to see var, var logs gray log. So the error is, let's see. Valid configuration. Okay, the minimum length for password is 16 characters. So this is not a hash. This is the other password I set. So let's see. Let's change this to something with 16 characters. So I will simply just copy this. I think this should be 16. Yeah, at least. So noroff_2020 2 times. Can do start now, or let's do restarts. Okay, so we can do tail -f. That would give us a better overview of what's going on. Okay, so at least there's no error messages. That's good. So what I usually do is just use netstat to see if the server is listening on a port. I need to install that very quickly. So as we've talked about before, netstat will allow me to see all the listening ports on this server. So if I do netstat, I should see 9,000. Let's see, is there something with 9,000? No, it's not. Okay. See if there's any more errors. It could still be booting up, actually. Yeah, it's still starting up. Just takes forever. So what the tail dash F is doing, it's just constantly refreshing the output, or the output from the log file. So I could technically do this with like any log file. Okay, so I think it's finished now. So now it should be listening on 9,000. No, it's not. Nope, it's not finished yet. Okay, so now it should be working. Let's see. Yeah, we might need to change the... okay. So I think I will need to change... Let's see... Let's open the server configuration file again and just go down until you see http underscore bind. Let's go with this, and if we do 0000, we tell the server to listen on all the IP addresses on the machine. So I think this should be good. Let's save this and let's check this one more time. Okay, yeah, so now it's listening on 9,000, but as you can see, it's listening on only on localhost, which means that I can't connect to the server from this web browser, because I can only connect from the local machine. So after I did that change, I just need to restart the service again, and hopefully it won't take as long. But I will pause the video, so you don't have to wait. Yeah, and by the way, the command you have to run to restart Graylog is this. So just sudo systemctl restart Graylog server.service. So basically this one, but just restart instead of start. Okay, so after I just did a change and restarted the service, you can see that it's now listening on all the IP addresses, or all the hosts, and the port is 9,000. So what I can do now is to go to, let's see, yeah, I have all of them right there. I will just insert the IP address, 48 dot, let's see, 136, and then the port 9,000. So it should give me a login interface. Okay. So the username was admin, and I did Noraf 2020. Yeah, so this is the version of the password that you hashed, not the one with like 16 characters. So it should be like this. Okay, so in the next video, we are going to start actually sending data or sending logs to this Graylog's server. So have a good day.